This is my QSL card album for ham radio. Now this one, I guess, is kind of special because this was the very first QSL or very first contact I made with the ham radio. This guy is in Canada. You can tell kind of where they're from by the call signs. So usually if it's a V, VE, means they're in Canada. And this was, I think, the third person I contacted in Canada also. This guy really helped me out a lot because I was getting kind of frustrated initially. Calling out, trying to make contact. Seemed like nobody was hearing me. And then I finally, one day, he replied, and then we started kind of communicating, just chit-chatting. I was asking him a lot of questions. Hey, can you give me some tips and pointers? He really helped me out what to do, kind of tips, and he's the one that told me about the Delta Loop antenna. Might want to look into building one of those, because he had 2 or 3 different types of antennas he had made. So his name was David. But you can, like I said, tell where they're from by the call signs. Brazil, they have surprisingly, a lot of ham radio operators in Brazil. And there's a guy, I guess, Puerto Rico, that's some from Bermuda, a lot of, from the United States. Some, it depends, some are pretty colorful, some are kind of plain. Yeah, this one was pretty exciting because this is the very first one I got from Africa.
Yeah, that's
The
pretty
guy
cool.
from Namibia, kind of exotic. So I was really excited to hear him and to get that. Like I said, here's one from Puerto Rico. And some people get pretty creative. Here's a guy in Florida. He has the space shuttle on his card. And there's this one, things from Italy. There's a lot of ham radio operators in Italy, which kind of surprised me. Usually these that have W's, they're from the United States.
What's A?
Yeah, the United States too. He's from Ohio.
Let's see, you got one up there, AG4.
Yeah, he's from Georgia, Rossville, Georgia. This one's from Canada, I think Saskatchewan. This is from Argentina. You haven't heard, there's not quite as many hams from Argentina, but there's a lot of hams from Chile, surprisingly. Here's one from Ireland. Here's from Northern Ireland. This guy, one from Wales. This is from Uruguay. I think I was kind of excited to get that because Uruguay is such a small country and there's not that many ham radio operators in Uruguay. OE is from Austria. Remember, I think I talked to one lady. She's a female ham operator from Austria. Apparently she was member of the royal family from Iran or something like that, living in Austria. They got special event, broadcasts, like this was commemorating the Battle of Princeton, so they were on the air just for that purpose. Wrote to them, got a card. This guy said he makes his own cards up. Usually you can just go through a service and print them up. You can give them the picture and they'll send it to you. This is from Chile. Let's see what else here. This from the U.S. Here's the one I got from Haiti. Special events, I guess, celebrating the anniversary of the independence of Haiti.
Yeah.
This is from Germany. Spain has a lot of ham radio operators in Spain. And this was, I think, the first guy. This guy's from Russia. So he was the first guy I've actually contacted from Russia. He's really not that hard to make contact with. So he's on the air. Was on the air for quite a while. He's on a long time.
Yeah, I guess that brings up a question. I'm assuming like English is the international language for ham radio. But
everybody usually that's on the airwaves, hams, they all communicate in English. But they got some hams talking among themselves.
yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Might be in Spanish because they know each other.
Yeah.
But typically everybody speaks or enough English to make a contact. This is from the Cayman Islands.
That's cool.
It's from La República Dominicana, the Dominican Republic. Or here's the Grand Cayman Islands. These are all, I think, these are from the U.S. Okay, where that's, that's from Slovakia. This from Denmark. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, the World Bank actually has a shortwave, a ham radio station, as does the United Nations. So I confirmed them. But this is the World Bank Amateur Radio Club. You don't hear them on the air very often, but this one from the Bahamas. Yeah, this guy has a YouTube channel. I think he traveled to the Bahamas while he was there. He decided to broadcast and had some cards specially made for the time he was in Bahamas so he could send out to people that made contact with him. I think these are from France. France. This was cool to get this one because this is from Australia. But yeah, it's not maybe extremely difficult either. It's not that many ham radio operators in Australia, but you will hear them. And this guy, I think, was from, if I remember, Luxembourg. That's kind of hard because you don't hardly hear anybody from Luxembourg. This is one from Switzerland. Oh, this is from France. Yeah, a lot of the hams from France start with an F. Here's the Republic of South Africa. Yeah, I don't. Not that many people from South Africa that I've been able to hear on the bands.
You don't see a whole lot from Asia, like you were saying.
No. And here's another one from Switzerland. Here's from Italy. Italy starts with an I. You can usually if it's a W or a K, it's from the United States. Here's from Hungary. Yeah, there's quite a few hams from Hungary I've talked to. Here's one from Chile. Chile usually starts with C, like CE. You can tell they're from Chile. Another one from Italy.
So how many QSLs do you have?
Oh, cards? Yeah, I was trying to tally, probably, I don't know, 150 or something like that, maybe.
Wow.
Like here's one from, yeah, it doesn't say it on there. It's either Wales, I think it may be Wales or England. There's also groups that are out, like called Youngsters on the Air. They broadcast to try to get kids interested in ham radio, so they call them YOTA. Or there's Parks on the Air called POTA, we call it. This was kind of cool. I talked to this guy and made a contact with him, but he didn't really have a special QSL card made. I can't remember. I think he might have been from, I think he was from Romania. But he kind of sent me a picture of his station in his house, and then he sent me a picture of him and his grandmother. So I thought that was kind of a nice touch. This was kind of cool to get. This was from Israel. I think I've only made one contact with Israel. This was like a special event station from Puerto Rico, about the lighthouses there in Puerto Rico, Slovenia. Here's from the island of Sardinia, I think in Italy. So that's the thing. I think you can get like Italy, but maybe Sardinia, if it's an island, might count as a separate country. So the American Radio Relay League, I guess, kind of oversees a lot of the ham radio stuff in the U.S. So they have a station too that they broadcast from their locale. So I got a card from them. Here's one from the Windward Islands, and I think a lot of these exotic ones I got during contest weekends, because sometimes that's the only time they're on the air. Like here's one from Latvia. I don't know if that's probably the only time I've heard anybody from Latvia before. Here's one from the Azores, and actually it was made several contacts from Cuba. I didn't think there would be that many people from Cuba, but
I was just going to ask you about Cuba.
You know, there's ham radio operators in Cuba. And this is another one from Sweden. That's not very common to hear. Sweden, Norway, Denmark. Here's like Canary Islands. That's part of Spain. This one from Estonia. You know, I think that might have been the only time I contacted Estonia. So this is like they had a contest team for one of the weekends from St. Lucia, one of the islands in the Caribbean. I think P4 is I think from Brazil. This was kind of neat to get this from Greenland, because I think you don't really hear them very often. Here's one from Aruba. There's another one from Russia. CT, I'm trying to where that's. Oh, this is from, yeah, Portugal is not very, you don't hear too many people from Portugal, so that's from Portugal. Here's one here from Havana, Cuba. That's kind of cool because they show all those old cars. Well, Cuba here. These three are from Cuba. And this one is from Bonaire, I guess in the Netherlands, Antilles. This is Chile, if they're from CE. It's from Russia. In Mexico, they had some special event station celebrating like Mayan culture. This is a guy from Japan. This was a nice one with the mountain. I'm assuming that's Mount Fuji.
Yeah.
Curacao. Here's another guy from Japan. He kind of, I think he said his daughter or somebody had drawn this picture and he put it on his QSL cards. That's kind of cool. I'm from Slovenia, then Costa Rica. Costa Rica, here's one. I think I just wrote to this guy from Alaska just to get one from Alaska, because it's not pretty tough trying to hear anybody from Alaska. Here's the Republic of Panama. And Costa Rica. This is from Saudi Arabia. You don't hear too many. But from those, like I said, those contest weekends, you can make contact with people there. Island of Corsica, U.S. Virgin Islands. I think this is from Lithuania, LY. This was one, Falkland Islands. Yeah, I was kind of really excited to get that. There's like Calgary Stampede, you know, famous rodeo event in Canada. They had a station kind of on the air just commemorating that event. There's one from French Guiana. Only time you're probably going to hear them is on a contest weekend. Here's a QSL from the United Nations. Antigua and Barbuda. From Iceland. It's kind of, they're on contest weekend. Brazil. Yep, that's quite the collection. Let's see, there was a couple others I thought were. Was El Salvador? That was kind of hard to get because there's not that many people broadcasting from El Salvador. In Romania. It's from Bulgaria. This one, I was surprised to get that. Western Sahara. That was on a contest weekend. Guadalupe Island, Anguilla. Martinique. It's another guy from Japan. This was, I guess, Santiago Island. I think this guy just went there just to broadcast and made his own QSL cards. In Guyana, that was on the contest weekend. This was a special called D-Expedition. These hams just went to this island just to broadcast, so they could give people had an opportunity to say, hey, I confirmed from Clipperton Island, because usually there's nothing there. That's kind of, I don't say racket, but you got to pay, pay for the card. It's not free. This is another D-Exposition from Austral Islands. I don't remember exactly where that's at. It may be either off the coast of South America. Get an island that nobody's there. You're never going to hear. Another from Easter Island. This one's from I thought that was from a country in Africa somewhere. This was kind of cool, getting East Kiribati. That's in the South Pacific. Montego Bay, Jamaica.
Jamaica.
In Liberia, Africa is not too many. So here's another I got from Malawi in Africa, Canada. This is a de-expedition out of Belize. There's not that many hams in Belize at all. Let's see. Anguilla. These are from Morocco. That was from, and this was, I guess, one from Spain. So, yeah, I was kind of busy.
For, walking us through some of the cars, got quite a large book there.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.